Make a difference with the National Federation of the Blind's Keep NFB Advancing Give $25 campaign. Each year, thousands of Federation members and friends contribute to support blind people, but we still need your help to fund our programs in 2026 and beyond. When you give $25 between May 15th and July 7th, you're entered into the Keep NFB Advancing drawing. Each $25 increment is a chance to win. Your support helps us continue to build a network that advances the lives of all blind people across America. You could win prizes like round-trip transportation for two to the 2027 NFB National Convention, hotel accommodations, registration, banquet tickets, or $2,000 cash. What a chance to win a Braille Note Evolve from Humanware? Become a Federation Connector. Ask friends and family to contribute before National Convention and indicate that you prompted their giving. The Give $25 drive supports the Kenneth Jernigan Fund, Sun Fund, Ten Brook Memorial Fund, and the White Cane Fund. You can choose a fund when you donate. To enter, visit nfb.org/give25donate. That's nfb.org/give25donate. Call 410-659-9314, extension 2430, or send a check to National Federation of the Blind and mention hashtag Give25 and the fund in the memo. The winner will be announced July 8th, 2026. Thank you for your generosity.
Welcome to Scene Change, a podcast by the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. All about equality, opportunity, accessibility, and the arts. Here, you'll learn adaptive techniques from performers in the know. We are changing what it means to be blind, one stage at a time. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scene Change. I'm your host, Lizzy Muhammad Park, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about dance, grants, and nonprofits at a glance. No, I did not just come up with that off the top of my head. I did think about it, and yes, I know it was corny, but that's all right. We have, for the very first time on our show, DJ Robinson, who is a dancer, choreographer, educator, and massage therapist with relevant degrees to match. DJ is the first National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division artist grant winner, and that is quite an accomplishment because for the division to even have this grant available was a big deal, and for him to win it is huge. So congratulations and welcome to the show, DJ.
Oh my God, thank you guys for having me. And I'm super stoked and excited to be here with you all today to share my knowledge and experience.
And we're looking forward to hearing about that knowledge and experience. Just a warm-up question that I always like to ask our first-time guests. What is your blindness journey?
It's funny. I love that question, but I've never been asked the question in that
Mm-hmm.
fashion. I'm normally, oh, how did you go blind? Oh, wait. So is it wrong of me to, like, I don't want, is it wrong of me to ask about your blindness or this,
Mm,
those kinds of
right.
phrasings. But my blindness journey, uh,
Because it is a journey,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In short, in this way, I will say, so I have ROP, which is
Mm,
retinopathy of prematurity. It is what premature babies get. I was born in '92. I was a miracle baby. I was 1 pound 9 ounces when I was born.
mm,
I was born at 27 weeks as a result.
mm,
I had to be in the NICU for 5.5 months. And as a result, there was too much oxygen to my brain, so they had to go in and kill my peripheral vision so I didn't lose all my sight. So I grew up seeing through what I call binoculars. And when I was 7, I had a detached retina after a surgery. I ran into the house because I also, alongside that, had severe ADHD. So I jumped out of my mom's Honda 93 Honda Civic, ran up the stairs, jumped headfirst into the couch, flipped over the couch in that order, and jumped off the stairs. And that went the beautiful vision in my left eye. And then when I was 11, I had cataract on my right eye that impaired what vision I did have. So I went from seeing 2200 to about 2400 within which what that might appear, or if you look at a stop sign from 20 feet away, I could see it. But now I went from that to seeing it maybe at 5 feet away to now where I'm at today, at 33 years old. Um, I could see and read and write until I was 23. So now all I see is lights and shadows and movement out of my right eye.
Mm,
And so it's been a wonderful like journey of this uh these transitions, these shifts in emotions, and how to be quote unquote blind, and exist in that space and be confident in that space because of the various uh, changes within my vision. But I definitely will say I've saw a lot of the world and enough of the world to understand. I like to call it my visual framework. So when people ask me, "Oh, so they always tend to ask me, "Oh, so you're blind and how'd you lose your sight?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I don't mind answering, right?" But I answer it with the caveat, I don't mind people asking. I want to share my experience about it because it's very important. I'd rather you ask me about how I lost my sight or what's my vision like than you sit there in ignorance, not knowing, right? And
mhm.
so that's pretty much my story.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think part of the blindness journey too is not even just how you lost your sight, but also it's about the confidence that you've built over time. It's about varying levels of acceptance too. Because, like, there are people who are totally blind but you know, don't accept it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that that's that's why I like to use the word journey because there's so much more to it than just the act of having or not having, but we're gonna dive. I'm gonna say that one more time. We're gonna dive deeper into that throughout the interview, but
yeah,
I'm glad that I asked that question now because I noticed that two of your uh, major dance moments coincide with things that you had going on visually. So you mentioned that when you were 7, you had, I believe you said, a retinal detachment.
yeah.
But then in my notes, I had a question later down the line that I'm just gonna jump to. You started dancing when you were 7 in front of audiences. Is that right? At a talent show?
Yes, yes.
Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so I had two childhood friends, Devin and Devon. They were twins and fraternal.
Mhm.
And it was their, I believe, I want to say maybe their 10th birthday. Yeah, it was their 10th birthday, maybe ninth. Their birthday party at a local venue in my hometown of Newton, North Carolina at the time, in my small neighborhood. And I remember it was like a talent show situation. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get up there and do it. And their mom, Miss Dee Dee, encouraged me to go up there, and I just wanted to just do it. And I
Yes.
remember getting on stage, and I believe it was Beat It or Bad by Michael Jackson. And
Classics.
either way, both of them are bangers and amazing. And I went for it. And it was just one of these things where I could just remember, don't know where the movement came from, don't know uh, how it was conceived or even dreamt up. I just remember spinning on my back, doing these different like turning movements. It was a wild first experience into what I would later realize is my career into dance. But I think that one moment was like, oh, I like being in front of people. But
Hmm.
I at that moment where it all started, I didn't win the talent show. I got second. It was okay, but it wasn't about the necessary win for me. It was like, hey, I got out here and moved my body, and I think that
Right.
idea of moving my body I had always been moving my body even since I was born. My mom, just briefly, if I could say, my mom told me a story about when I was younger in the NICU, and they were, I guess, bringing me back into this room with my mom. Um, the nurse bumped my bed or the incubator or whatever thing I was in. I don't know the language of it, but
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
crib I was in into the wall, and then I just did this big stretch, like big stretch, and then I cried. But then at that moment, it's like I just moved, and then from that standpoint, I never stopped moving, and I was always moving. So it's just testament, like it started from when I was in the room, even when I was a baby,
Mhm.
to that pivotal
Mhm.
moment. You know?
And then you did the talent show, which I think is hilarious. You said your friends' names were Devin and Devon, and
Yes.
we call you DJ, but your name's Davian. So I just think
Yes.
that's so cool. It's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
guys were
Yeah.
triplets, really. Um,
Yeah.
but you were 7 and you go to this talent show, and then you were 11 and you got served, and that also coincides with
Yes.
another, visual, and I think that it's fascinating. But let me jump to the point of my question. And because I'm asking them a little bit out of order, we'll have to
No.
backtrack a little
No.
bit. Um, I'm curious to know if you're able to work with any youth. I know you work with dancers of mixed abilities, and do you do anything with youth? Are you able to tap into that arena?
Yeah. So I work with. So my very first workshop that I did when it was in its infancy stages back in 2017, I with my dance mentor at the time and best friend Lily Willis, she we worked with 60 kids in a gigantic gym.
Mhm.
And they were from elementary school. I think the youngest was 8 and the oldest was like 17 or 18. And this is a
Wow.
gigantic gym. And I thought I
Yeah.
was going to lose my mind. Trying to keep up with all uh the nuances of
Mhm.
the energies and the personalities of all the children I work. But I will say yes, I long-winded to say I have worked with youth and I can work with youth.
Mhm.
I think I actually, man, I have this beautiful stories, as you said, youth, and
Mhm.
oh, I love this young lady who, like, she's so sweet. But anyway, I was back in 2023. I was going to San Francisco, California, to be I got a residency to become a fellow for
Mhm.
this Access Dance Company, mixed ability company out of California, to come be a choreo. They called it the Choreo Lab, and I was one of their fellows and come to work with their dancers for 2 weeks. And
Mhm.
while on the plane going, there was a woman named Miss Amy,
Mhm.
yeah, and her daughter Amelia. And Amelia, at the time, she was 4 years old, and sh we just struck up an awesome conversation with me and her and her mom, and I told them, that I danced and I was blind, and she was just so intrigued and so amazing, like about how I was doing this. And I showed them some of my work. I showed them I had done an Adidas video, like a back in 2018. And with the company out of Atlanta. And I showed her that and showed her other things. And she said, "Oh my gosh," she was just so enamored. And after we were done, I ended up giving her a blindfold.
Mhm.
And her mom sent me, once we parted ways after that experience, her mom sent me a video and showed me of her dancing around in her blindfold. And it was just like, I was just so taken aback that this young aspiring dancer who
Mhm.
she's now 7, and I am actually gonna, God willing, see her and her mom in New York in December
Oh,
of
wow,
this
that'll be
year,
so much fun.
2026. We're gonna do a little dance jig in the city, hopefully. But just showed me like that the innocence that youth have and
Yeah.
their openness to not judge, but to be curious about people who
Oh,
are
yeah.
blind and
For
or
sure.
different than themselves. So that there was that, and so I just had to share that. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Childlike curiosity, it's there's nothing like it. And I mean, I think that when you enjoy learning, you it's part of the love of learning is maintaining that childlike curiosity. But of course, as we get older, life teaches us different things. So,
yeah, yeah,
wow, I do love that story. So, but we've kind of been talking around it. But for the audience, I feel bad because they're like, well, what is it that he does? What is this? What can you tell us about sensory beyond sight?
yeah. So Sensory Beyond Sight was founded, developed uh, in 2017 in a Dunkin' Donuts coffee shop.
Mm,
I was sitting with my dance mentor and friend Lily. Uh, she was helping me fill out an application for a study abroad project because I came to her with anticipation, ready to uh, embark on a journey of potentially studying abroad in Italy
right.
in the summer of 2018, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to. She was helping me apply for a grant scholarship to go abroad, and so we were
Right.
sitting in Starbucks and we were writing these ideas up, and so I had to come up with a service project. And so the service project came uh, out of that um summer abroad trip to Italy, to Reno Moncavo, to be exact. And I wanted to help dancers of all types
Mm-hmm.
step away from comparisons, insecurities, and perfectionistic ways of thought around the
Mm-hmm.
dancer body, the body, and allow them also to step into my realm for a moment. How does someone like myself embody movement? So the basis is that the little blurb of what sensory outside it helps people foster a deeper understanding of
Mm-hmm.
body awareness and time and space through the elimination of their sight. However, my practice and my workshop sensory outside is not product based; it's process based. So it allows for the mover through um, the elimination of their sight through blindfold work and exercises tap into their sensoriums or the senses of their bodies to help them engage in movement, language, and movement embodiment that is separate from the visual lens because dance is such a visual
Mm-hmm.
form of art. So my goal is to always is to help people who of all abilities, disabilities, and also sighted, non-disabled,
Mm-hmm.
foster that deeper understanding of body awareness when you can step away from that the visual lens to help engage your sensoriums to help you embody a greater presence of yourself, embody uh, a greater awareness that leads to um, a more full understanding of how you can grow your movement in and out of dance. So this workshop is not just meant for the quote unquote dancer, and I don't like always saying dance. I like saying mover.
I
Anyone
like
can
that
come
too.
into to this space and move because people come up to me a lot of times and they say, "Oh, wait, so you're blind and you dance, but like I can't dance." I was like, "What do you mean you can't dance? Can you move your
Mm-hmm.
body?"
Mm-hmm.
And they say, "Yeah." But then they say, "Oh, I don't know what I look like." Well, it's not always about what it looks like. And so
Mm-hmm.
my biggest thing is that I help all people understand that it's for everyone's body, that dance is fun, it's exciting, but there's some level of creativity
Right.
and storytelling
Right.
and an embodiment that embraces presence. And when presence meets embodiment, presence meets practice.
I
So
like that.
that's the gist of my workshops.
I like that. I like that a lot. And while we're talking about mixed abilities, this podcast really was started out of spreading awareness of the capabilities of blind people. And we're always welcoming and we're always open to also, having people share their stories when they have varying other disabilities. As you say, mixed abilities. I'm gonna start using that because I do like that.
Oh, yes,
That
that's
that
fine. Yeah,
terminology.
yeah,
That
yeah,
terminology.
yeah.
Um, but for those who, I mean, listen, we've had various blind dancers on, and visually impaired dancers, low vision, whatever you want to, whatever terminology you want to use, dancers on. But the thing that I really find super cool about your story is that you have this experience as someone who is blind, but working with people, for example, who are deaf. And so I'd like for you to share, and I know that this question might seem like very basic and, maybe an oversimplification. I'm fully aware of that. But um, what are some of the accommodations that that choreographers should know about when working with, for example, a blind low vision dancer versus a deaf dancer? I know it's going to be different. I know it's going to be very, very different. They're very different
Yeah, yeah,
abilities.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
what are they? Yeah, yeah.
Through working with Access Dance Company in
Mhm.
their choreo lab as a fellow back in 23, I had an opportunity to work with an apprentice that her name was Anna, or is Anna, I should say. Her name
Mhm.
is Anna.
Mhm.
Um, and she's a beautiful, beautiful mover. She is um, deaf and hard of hearing.
Mhm.
When she takes her hearing aids out,
Mhm.
she can't hear.
Mhm.
And so when I went to uh, Berkeley, California, with my mentor Lily,
Mhm. Mhm.
we noticed real quickly that the access needs were different,
Right.
but similar in that when there's someone who is deaf of hard of hearing,
Mhm.
they may not just only require someone who understands deaf culture
Mhm.
or someone who understand and not just someone who understands communication with
Mhm.
hearing aids and without hearing aids, but they may have to have the other level of potentially knowing ASL.
Ah,
Um,
I see.
and then also being that if the person who is deaf or hard of hearing is not a lip reader, then there may be an element of protactile, which
Mhm.
is um, a form of, I guess if I'm saying this correctly, ASL that is done on the body.
I gotcha. Uh-huh.
So, like, I could do it, for instance, if I wanted to do a smiley face, I could do
Mhm.
the smiley face sign on the shoulder of the left shoulder or on the back. If I wanted
Yeah,
to
so y
do an exclamation mark, like there,
Mhm.
I would draw it on the back, like
Gotcha.
something simple as that. It can be a lot more complex than, um, but and then when you put on a blindfold,
Mhm.
then you're adding extra layers to that because not
Mhm.
only do they need the hands-on
Mhm.
approach from their mentor or dance
Mhm.
assistant, but they
Mhm.
also might need a secondary person to do some pro tactile and some ASL in the hand and other forms of,
Communication?
yes, exactly. Thank you. Communication.
So
But
so do you work with deaf blind dancers as well, or movers as well?
so yeah, so
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
yeah, so I had the opportunity. So I actually um will be hopefully uh keep my fingers crossed. If nothing else changes. I will be working with the deaf and hard of hearing dance artists
Mhm.
in New York City
Mhm.
this December 2026 for
Mhm.
as part of art residency with movement research called Access Move Play.
Wow.
Um, and we're gonna just get in this in the studio and explore how we both uh, through our shared experience can create a movement language that doesn't rely heavily on our sight or our hearing, but only through touch and through
Ah.
vibration, sound, and texture and other elements. Um, and so I'm super excited about that collaborative opportunity. But then also, I worked with a company uh, out of Durham, North Carolina,
Mhm.
back in 2024 on a project. They're called Chalet Dance Works or SDW,
Mhm.
and we created a project called Sensory Beyond Sight, the next chapter,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we created a previous dance eating link performance through as a world premiere showcasing through American Dance Festival, and the previous iteration, Sensory Beyond Sight, and Vision, focused on the lived experiences of people who are blind and vision impaired and raising up their stories
Mhm.
and allowing them to have a voice within performance and movement.
Mhm.
And we took people who took audience members, six of them at a time, through an immersive experience with blindfolds. And by the time they were done, they were able to say, "Well, wow, is that how you experience life? I never knew." And it wasn't just through movement; it was through narration, through music, through script writing, through and so it was a and uh, the whole gamut. But we also had the opportunity to put on a second iteration called Sensory Beyond Sight, the next chapter, or Envision, the next chapter, and that brought both parties lived experience. So deaf and hard of hearing, and people who are blind and vision impaired, and we did the same thing. So we were able to take input from people who were deaf, who identified as deaf and deaf or hard of hearing, um, into the narration process, to the script writing, into not just thinking about making art with accessibility on the back end, but we made accessibility for both sides, deaf and blind individuals, with it in the choreographic process.
Wow.
And there's, you when you work in that cross sectional
Mhm.
dynamic, there's always gonna be give and take, because when you make an accommodation for one, you may accidentally be pushing away the accommodation for the other side, and vice versa. So there has to be this pretty much nice, I would say, um, beautiful partnered uh,
Mhm.
dance of negotiating how much are you going to give within reason so that everyone has their needs met in a creative space where there may be limited resources.
I like that, and that's why I asked the previous question. Um, it was exactly that because so often there are opportunities for all of us to come together and collaborate, because we have these various access needs and there is strength in numbers. So I love that you are working on something that really promotes that and promotes the partnership amongst people of mixed abilities. I think that's
And,
really,
and,
really
and,
nice.
and if I could just say what
Mhm.
I'm looking at this, my experiences and my interactions
Mhm.
uh, and what have you, from a lens that I still have so much to learn as a person who is blind, who identifies as blind and visually impaired, but also identifies as disabled.
Mhm.
However, I still know that there is still so much more cross lateral work and networking and
Mhm.
bridge breaking and um, integrating and connecting the two different sides, but together, to where there is not maybe tension or
Right.
uh, where lack of resources may cause that tension or cause
Yeah.
each person's accommodations to not be met. I'm an equal opportunist in every way, but I really don't like being in spaces or places where we all can't um, convene together, where all of our access needs are met. And that's what's really important and really beautiful about the work I do with Sensory on Site, is that it takes away one mode of experience
Mm-hmm.
to then help us all streamline to come to a connected place where we can meet in the middle and then
Mm-hmm.
migrate forward and move forward from that point so that we all can have a unified um, direction where we can move towards true accessibility and
Mm-hmm.
inclusion. So,
Yeah. 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 I think that's really good. So, what can you tell us about the grant that you received? We want to know about the application process. It has been put out that they're going to do another cycle. We don't know when it's going to come out just yet, to my knowledge. But did you have to write essays? Did you have to do interviews? What was the application process like for the Performing Arts Division Artist Grant?
so the artist grant, I did have to write. Um, to my recollection, I also have
Hmm.
ADHD, so I forget a lot of things.
Uh
So
huh.
please forgive me in advance if it's blank my mind in this moment. However, what I will say is that it did require me to share my experience. How, in a nutshell, how was I as a artist progressing uh, the the community forward
Hmm.
within the arts and doing something that highlights um, the lives of people who identify as blind and vision impaired in a very
Right.
unique way. And I will say that this application was made in a way where it helps to highlight your strengths and not um, put you where you have to choose, but it really bolsters up your strengths, your artistry, but then it also allows you to see your individual personality within your responses and within the work you're doing and how it relates to the process.
That's good. So, were there any interviews as well?
Yes, so that was an interview process, and I received a phone call, and it was a pleasant interview process, very straightforward. The questions that were asked were all questions that provoked um, the best out of me in the sense of it allowed for me to elaborate on my process as an artist, the my strengths, the what my art has to say, how it impacts
Mm-hmm.
not only myself but the community of NFB.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's like the overarching thing is that it the interview process put me in a place where there wasn't pressure, but it was ease and it was comfortable because of
Good.
just the array of questions and how they were asked in a very succinct
Mm-hmm.
and direct and straightforward way, which was comforting because it allowed me to kind of expound upon certain ideas more than others, but then I could also give more simple, direct answers. They honestly
That's
helped
really
me.
good.
So
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And as part of, winning the grant, you'll be at convention this year, right?
I will be at convention.
Is that your first one?
Yes, it's my first one
Wow.
ever.
I'm
And
excited for you.
you know, someone told me like I've had
Mm-hmm.
friends to attend this over the years, and I said, how many people is there? Oh, it's about 3 to 5,000. I'm like, excuse me, yo, stop.
It's a
Like,
lot of people.
stop. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. You just told me 3,000, 5,000 visually impaired blind people. And that to me is just, it makes me be in awe, not
Yeah.
in all of like wow of like all these blind people. It's all in like,
Mhm.
look at all the individuals who are out
Yeah.
here living their best lives and
Yeah.
not letting an obstacle or a barrier be a
Yeah.
limitation to their life goal of enjoying it and living it to the fullest and
Oh,
showing
for
up and
sure.
and you know, so it's like, oh my God, so I'm really excited for the.
There's no convention like your first convention.
That's scary. That is so scary, but scary and exciting all at the same time.
It is. It's like, I mean, it's just it's really an amazing feeling. I'm excited for you. But you were just about to say, what you were excited about, and my next question is what you're looking forward to. So go ahead. What are you looking forward to while at convention?
Well, I'm really excited for the networking opportunities. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for the growth that I'm going to be able to uh, gain through my connections, through the networking. Because, like I said earlier, like I don't know everything,
Mm.
and I might be a professional blind person to my colleagues that in which I work with in various spaces. I might be the the professional and the educator within my spaces, but there's always more for me to learn. I'm really excited. I don't know if this is supposed to be said, but I believe that I'm teaching as well.
Ooh, that's fun.
But if I yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I am excited for that because I've never taught and allowed people who are like myself experience
Mm-hmm.
this in
Yeah.
this kind of space. I've
Yeah.
worked with other individuals who are blind or vision impaired in
Mm-hmm.
smaller spaces and in different situations and settings, but I think
Mm-hmm.
overall, like I'm really just excited to see how I can immerse my practice into this week, that one day or a few hours, but also what can I glean to become a better me, a better
Yeah.
blind person, vision impaired person,
Yeah.
but just overall just a better me, and
Yeah.
what can I shed light on in anyone else's life through those that I encounter.
My advice to you is to attend as many things as you possibly can. That is the best way to do convention. If you don't walk away from convention, like, I know this is not like a popular thing to say because of these times, but I'm just gonna say it because it's just how I feel.
You can,
If you don't walk away, if you don't walk away from the convention exhausted, you didn't do it right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
go to
yeah,
all the media, everything that looks interesting, even if you just poke your head in to see if it's as interesting as it sounds. Go to everything that sounds interesting. Just meet all the people and just really soak it up and just enjoy yourself. There's no convention like your first convention, and you are gonna see a lot of really cool things. That's like, wow, I never thought of doing that way. You know what I mean? And you're gonna
yeah.
show people different things too. I could just tell by your energy. You're going to show people things that they've never thought of doing in a certain way either. So I can't wait. We got to have you back on the show after you go to convention, just to, just to have a convention
I,
recap.
I would love to. I would love to be back on. I would love to be back on.
So before I let you go, I just think it's so cool also that you're a Paralympian. So can you briefly just tell us about some of the athletic work that you do, and maybe how that connects with your dance work, or how that,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect.
So I will say that. So I was a U.S. paracyclist with Team USA for about 7 years. I was on the national segment and stage,
Mm,
and I was able to go to plethora of races. I did 10 national championships, and I walked away with 6 national medals. I won the U.S. National championship in the 1 kilometer time trial pursuit on the velodrome in 2017 at the Olympic Training Center velodrome.
wow.
And but alongside that, I would say that endeavor. also showed me that the the, the power and the um, ways in which people who live with blindness have this tenacity, this grit, this resilience.
Mhm.
Um, but it also showed me that there's a discipline that you have to have, and
Yeah.
uh, and sometimes you may be a little off the rails because you might go and ride a 100-mile bike ride in 80-degree weather, or
Wow.
you might be in 20 degrees of weather outside doing a training ride. But what I would
Wow.
say about the whole experience of being a U.S. paracyclist for the 7 years, I had the opportunity to make connections and network and see how others outside of just blind and vision impaired, but other mixed ability, other individuals who identify as disabled
Mhm.
find their why, find their freedom in spinning the pedals of sorts. But now, since I hung that up and really, put on my proverbial tap shoes and
Mhm.
danced across the nation and the country, just moving and
Mhm.
grooving, I've started running. I've done 5 marathons since then. I most recently
Wow.
just ran the Boston Marathon
Cool. So cool.
back back in April, which was really fun. Again, it's just movement and dance and running and cycling. Like the body loves motion, and motion loves the body. And
Mm.
so when you put yourself in a place of movement, no matter if you're walking, you're dancing, you're even drumming on a drum set, or you're swimming in a pool, like the body loves movement, and it's good for the mind, it's good for the heart, it's good for the soul. And so any way that I could find movement outside of my US paracycling journey, I found it within dance, and I also found it in running. So I just want to say, no matter if you aren't a dancer, aren't an athlete, but you just like going on walks, or you're a musician, or you're a writer, know that your emotion is your emotion. And wherever you find presence, that's where your practice lies.
Wow. And for any of our listeners who would like to follow you on social media or keep up with you, where can they learn more about you, get in contact
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah. So you guys can come connect with me on my website at empower23.net and scroll to the bottom of my page. There's my Instagram handle, my Facebook handle, my YouTube uh, channel link, but also there's a contact me button if you're ever interested in knowing more about my dance or any other networking things that you may need. But that's how I can be reached.
Wow. Well, thank you so very much for sharing your story with us and giving us some insight into the grant process at the Performing Arts Division Artist Grant process, and so on and so forth. Goodness. And thank you to our listeners who hang out with us here each and every month to learn more about the possibilities for performers. Um, my goodness, this is going to be my favorite quote. Wait, what'd you say? The body loves motion and motion loves
Well, it's
the
the
body.
body.
I love that quote. I need to put that somewhere. I might just, I don't even know. I gotta find somewhere to put that. I'm still, I'm still thinking, about just that. That's my goodness, my biggest takeaway, because you've described that in every single question. Um, you've made that point in one way or another, but I love that as just a catch-all phrase for this episode.
Yeah.
Everyone, remember that we won't be on in July because it is convention month. So we know that everybody will be off at convention and then recovering from convention because there's just so much to see and do there. But enjoy yourselves. We'll be on hiatus. Everyone, you too, DJ, you have so much fun at convention,
Thank
but
you.
everyone have so much fun at convention. And we'll see you in August. This has been another episode of Scene Change.
I'm Caitlin McIntyre, President of the National Federation of the Blind Performing Arts Division. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Scene Change. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and visit our website at nfb-pad.org. There you'll find links to our social media, membership, and resources for blind performers. Thanks to everyone who makes this show happen. Scene Change is executive produced by Shane Lowe, Caitlin McIntyre, and Lizzy Muhammad Park, with audio production by Drew Mochak. Also on the team are Maddie Hendricks, Aaron Jordan, and Melissa Sprouse, with music by Ryan Strunk and Tom Page. Remember, you can be the performer you want. Blindness is not what holds you back. We'll see you next time.